I want to just show really quick, well, one I want to show you, and then a few I want to just tell you about. With this new release, nice little feature here. When you're looking at a customer, and that customer is set up for EFT payments, either credit card or ACH, you noticed before it would always tell you if there were any EFT payments. Now what it also will show you is for each invoice, you'll see a little P next to the invoice number. That will tell you that there's a scheduled credit card or ACH payment for that transaction. And if you open the invoice, you'll just see a little message down here that there's a pending EFT transaction to schedule for payment. And this will help, just let you know that if there's an invoice out there and you're talking to a customer that something's scheduled, or you don't have to reschedule that or take double payment by accident. So that's a real nice feature, and we're glad to get that out. If you remember earlier, about a month or two ago, we finished our first voting of the Sedona enhancements. In this release is the first thing, the parts breakout when completing a job. I'm not going to demonstrate that today just because of the time, but when you break out and close a job, if it's a part kit, all the individual parts within that kit will now list individually within the customer's equipment list. So it breaks it out automatically. The other feature, the job query builder, it's under development. We're hoping to have it, if not by the end of the year, but very early into 2014. And with that, I'd just like to say that we also have another round of Sedona enhancements voting. We're going to do right after the holidays. So look for the announcements, but it'll be sometime beginning of January to mid-January so that we can get some more enhancements going based upon our users' feedback. Okay, so with that said, let's jump into the Sedona schedule board. Just so you know, I think most people are familiar with the Sedona schedule board. For my demonstration purposes today, I only have one monitor to show. So I will be jumping back and forth between the applications a little bit. But Sedona Schedule was really designed to run on a second monitor, and that's really the best way to do it. So if I did have a second monitor, you could take the application and just drag it to another monitor. In case for today, since I don't have one, we're just going to watch it on one monitor, and you'll see when I jump back and forth. Now, the first thing I want to go through as we talk about this is to talk about what are display groups. Now, if you've been using the service schedule board, you're probably quite familiar with those. But now that jobs are going to be scheduled within the job schedule board, the Sedona schedule board, you might want to create some additional display groups for your installers. So just as a reminder, this is where you pick your display groups. And these are just some of the display groups I have. So if I clicked, for example, all, I would see all of my technicians. And let's just look at it for one day. So I'm going to come over here to the calendar and just pick today, the 19th. So there's all my technicians scheduled for today. If you wanted to create a new display group, you click the icon to the right. And here's a list of the display groups that I have. And you could just click New, and I could create a new display group. And let's just say that I want to call this one my installers. So I'll give it a name. And if you have multiple areas, you could call it by region, by area, by burglar alarm installers, fire alarm, however you want. You can also then just come over here and pick which installers or which technicians you want within this display group. So I'll just come over here and select these. You can also pick which order from left to right you want them to display. And that's what you just do with the sequencing. So the lower the number, the further to the left it will be. So if I wanted this one all the way to the right, I could say 5, and I'll say 4, and I'll come over here and say 3, 2, 1. And let's just save this. And now if I exit this and I come back over here and I pick my display groups, and now I'll choose the new one, installers, there's my display group for installers. So that's the first thing when you're looking at the schedule board to know what technicians will display. So again, I'm just going to come back over here and just pick my Dallas text for today. Now, the other thing I want to show is what's called unassigned. So you can have an appointment that's created, both a job appointment and a service ticket appointment, that's created and it's set up to an unassigned technician, meaning it's scheduled, but we don't know who to give it to. So if I just click this button here, it's called Show Unassigned, you'll see we'll get an unassigned column here. So for example, I could take this ticket right here and just drag it to our unassigned. Now you can see that this ticket is scheduled for today at 1 o'clock, but we don't know who the technician will be. I can always then drag it to whatever technician I want it to go into. Okay, so let's continue on and talk about creating and getting into the creating appointments and talking about jobs themselves. So you'll notice when I'm looking at the different scheduled appointments, the first three prefixes will tell me if it's a service ticket or if it's a job. So this one right here, it's a job appointment. You notice it's red. Being red will tell me that it's been completed, and the appointment has been fully dispatched, arrived, and departed. So it uses the same color schemes that the service ticket appointments do, and we'll go through those in just a moment. Now, if I want to open up the job, just like in you double-clicking on a service ticket, you could double-click on a job, and it will actually open the job inside of the main application. So if I come over here, you'll notice the job is automatically open for me. So I don't have to come into SedonaOffice and search for that job. It will just open it right from here. Now, something I failed to point out, I just want to mention, all the functionality of the main application, SedonaOffice, within job management works exactly as it has before. So if you want to continue to do all of your job appointments just the way you've done them before and not use the new service board, you can, but we're going to highly recommend you do, because at some point, like we did for service, we'll probably migrate a lot of the functionality over to the new service schedule board. Okay, so let's just go back into the schedule board over here. Now, if I wanted to create a new appointment, there's a couple different ways to do that. The first thing, though, before I show that, is I want to show what's new in terms of the job queue. So if you're familiar with Sedona, the service board, we have what's called our ticket queue. So this is standard. This hasn't changed, but these are all of our service ticket queues as we had before. There's a new feature in here now that says Open Jobs. So if I click on Open Jobs, I will have my job queue. So this is the same list of jobs that you would have within the main SedonaOffice application. And we have a few new icons over here. So the first one's showing me all my open jobs. The next one is showing me all my jobs that I currently do not have an appointment for. These are all my unscheduled jobs. Now, just like the service ticket queue, there's a lot of great things you could do with the queue over here that you couldn't do before. The first thing is all the column names are definable, what you want to view and how you want to lay this out. So if I click on this little icon to the left, it will open up a field chooser display. Here I can pick and choose which field I want to be in my queue. So for example, if I didn't want the start date to show, I could just uncheck that. And maybe I don't want the units and I don't know, the city. So I could just turn those off. So there's my queue right here. The other thing you can do is you can take a field and rearrange the order. So if I wanted to make the site name the second field, I just drag it over there, and it will now be my second field within my list. Now, in order to look at the queue by different ways, you can filter and sort the queue. So for example, here's my job type. If I wanted to sort by job type, I just click that column and it will sort it by that column. If I wanted to filter this and only show my CCTV jobs, you just click this little icon. It's a filter button, and I could just say CCTV. And now I'm just looking at my CCTV jobs. Okay? Now maybe I wanted to know my CCTV jobs based upon the status. So I can now just click on the status and sort it there, or I can take the status and drag it to the top, and now you notice I can actually have little mini queues that are going to show me all of my jobs based upon its status. So it makes it very easy to sort and put the queues in any type of order that you want. If I want to remove that sort, I just drag the status back down. If I want to remove my type, I just come over here and I say all. Okay? You can even do advanced searches on here by doing what's called a custom filter as well. With a custom filter, you can really come up with any kind of filtering to find which data you're looking for. So that gives you the ability to look at your queues and to sort them and move them how you want to. Now, there's this next icon. You could toggle this between double-click shows the job or double-click shows the schedule, and that's the ability to create an appointment. So for example, if I'm in this queue and I want to open up this particular job, because it has shows job, I double-click on it, it will now automatically open the job within SedonaOffice. If I have it on shows schedule, if I double-click on it, it's going to bring us to the board where we can create an appointment for that job. And I'm going to come back to this board in just a moment. There's a lot going on here. So give me 1 second here. Okay, so that's your queue. But I'm going to go back to our daily schedule here. And I want to go through one other thing, and if you've been using the schedule board, you're familiar with this. This is where you could double-click on the schedule board and tell it what kind of appointment you want to create. And you have one of three choices by default. The first is a service ticket, create a new service ticket and appointment. The next is to create an appointment for a job. And the last one is to create a miscellaneous appointment. So let's click on the icon to create a job appointment. And let's just say we want to schedule our technician, John, for an appointment for this morning. So I'm just going to double click the 8 a.m. Spot, and it's going to bring me to a list of all my open jobs. So I can say, which job do I want to create an appointment for? So over here, I could come over here and I could pick whatever job that I want. Okay, come on. I hate when it does this. Okay, so it was just the first time I was in there, it just took a little bit to wake that up. So here's my job schedule, and it brought in that job. So it's job 250, it's a residential burglar alarm. It tells me my status, the customer site. It tells me my estimated hours on this job, my hours used, proposed hours of this appointment. Right now it's just for 1 hour, but I'll show you how we're going to change that. So in order to create an appointment, the first thing you have to do is select the task. So on this one, I'm going to say that we're going to do a job installation. Now these tasks automatically default in from the job. So it's only going to show you the tasks available from that job when you created it. You can also put in a labor task if you want. If your labor task has an estimated appointments, it will use that to default how long this appointment should be for. Now, you notice my start date and end date for this job is just today. And my start time is 8 a.m. But if I wanted to schedule this from 8 a.m. to noon, I could just change that to 8 a.m. to noon. And you'll notice on the right-hand side here, I can see who my technician is, John Jones, and he's scheduled for this for today. Now, let's say I also wanted to have a second technician join. And these are my other available technicians based upon the display group that we have selected. And since we started off with the Dallas text, that's what it's defaulting in. If I wanted to see all my texts, again, I could just come over here and pick all, or maybe I just want to see all my installers, and I could pick them and see which ones are available. Okay? So I'm going to go over here and pick Harry Truman because I want Harry to come on this job as well. So you notice what it's telling me. It's telling me that I have a conflict with Harry. Now, that doesn't mean it's not going to create the appointment. What that really just means is that it's giving you a warning telling you that there is a possible conflict, so you might want to go look at that before you create the appointment. So if I wanted to remove him, I could just highlight him and remove him, and now I'll just create an appointment for John Jones. Okay? Now, let's say I wanted John to go to this appointment not only today, the 19th, but I want him to go tomorrow also. So I'll click the 20th. So now you notice I've created an appointment for both the 19th and the 20th at 8 a.m. for the 240 minutes, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. Now, if you're doing more than a week and you're going to span into weekend, 2 weeks, you can click on the exclude Saturday and exclude Sunday. So when you do create appointments that are greater than just the regular weekdays and going into multiple weeks, it will know automatically to skip and not create Saturday and Sunday appointments. Okay? So at this point, let's go ahead and create these appointments. And all I have to now do is click on Schedule. And it's going to give me just a real quick recap and say, here's all the appointments that you said to create. Are you sure you want to create all of these? And if I do, I just click Save. If, for example, I say, well, no, I don't want to create the one on Friday, I could just uncheck that one, and then it would only create the one on Thursday, the 19th. I'll click that and turn that on. I'm going to click Save, and there you see it just created my appointment for today at 8 a.m. Now let's go over to the main calendar, and I'm going to drag the 19th and the 20th. So now I'm looking at my schedule for today and tomorrow. And you'll notice it automatically created that appointment for tomorrow as well. So I don't have to create individual appointments for every day now. You could create multiple appointments at one time, either for one tech or for multiple techs within that schedule. Now, if you need to edit either of these appointments, you can just highlight the appointment. You'll notice on the detail page over here, I could click Edit, and I could see the details for this appointment. I can reschedule it to another date, another time here, and so on. Just the same way it works with the service tickets. You can also drag these. So if I know he can't go at 8 o'clock today and I want him to go later this afternoon, I could just drag it right down there. You can also delete an appointment very easily. So if I don't want him to go on Friday, I just come over here to the Friday appointment. I press the delete key. It says, are you sure you want to delete this appointment? I say yes, and now that appointment is deleted. So very simple to delete it as well as to create them and so on. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my day view and just look at today's appointments. And if we were ready to dispatch this technician now, and again, if the technician was carrying the field service unit, and they press dispatch, right now, if you were on this board and you click dispatch, you will see that ticket turn blue. And it's going to tell you that it's been dispatched at 2:24 p.m. and it's been dispatched for 0 minutes. So that's what the time right there tells you, okay? So for example, if we're looking at, well, if we had one that, I'm going to take this service ticket right here, and I'll real quick dispatch it and arrive it. You notice when it's arrived, it turns green. It tells you how long. So when our technician arrives on site here, we'll click the green and tell it that it's arrived. If we needed to modify any of those times, we could click the edit, and we can modify those times, again, just as you would with any other appointment that you had. Okay? When the ticket's completed, again, you'll do your completion right from here. So I'm just going to click the edit, and I'm going to say that we actually completed, for purposes right now, 5 p.m. And you'll notice, watch this ticket move a little bit. Once the ticket's been completed, instead of showing the schedule time and the block of time it was scheduled for, it will now show the actual time that we were on site with that. This was something that was added a few releases ago for service tickets. So once a ticket's completed, you actually see what time slot it actually used versus what time slot was it actually scheduled for. So I'm going to double click on this on this job ticket now and go back in and open the job. And if I jump down to our labor, you'll see that it created the appointment and handled all the appointment just like it would have regularly if I was doing it within the job management system. And it will create the timesheet record for you based upon your job type setup. So I'm not going to go into that today. If you have any questions on that, please contact our support. We'll be more than happy to walk you through that and talk about that. But it works just the same as it did before. So again, write down any questions if you have any as we're going along. But just wanted to point out and show you how it works, and there's no difference in terms of whether we did it through the new Sedona schedule board or if we did it through the job itself. Okay? All right. So let's go back in and go into the job queue one more time. And again, I'm going to double click on a job, and because I had it set over here to create the schedule, it's creating an appointment for me over here. And because I double clicked directly from that job, you notice I didn't have to go in and select the job that I wanted to create it for. It knew automatically it's for that customer and for that job. Again, I could pick my job type, my task, and these are all the tasks that are set up for this job. And this time, I'm going to pick multiple installers that I want to create this for. And I could pick the times that I want to create it for. So from, let's say, 3 to 5 p.m. And I'll pick the date that I want to schedule it for. And I'm going to pick the 30th, and I'll say the 31st, and we'll say the 2nd, 3rd, 6th, and 7th. So you notice what it did. If I had all three of these technicians and I want them all to go on this job for all of these dates from 3 to 5 o'clock, I can create all of these appointments all at once. Now, the other thing you could do right from here is, okay, while you're scheduling this, you have a question, you want to know something about this job. Again, you could click on Go to Job right from here, click on this, and it will actually just automatically open the job for you. So you could drill right into the job from here. Okay, going back into our schedule board, let's go ahead and create all these tickets. So I'll click Schedule, and it brings me up a list and says, here's all my schedules. And if anyone had a miscellaneous appointment and had a conflict, it would have shown me that in my list over here beforehand, showing me that I had conflicts so I could take care of those. I'll click Save, and let's now jump back into our day view. But this time I'll jump into a week view, and you'll notice if I jump into the week of the 30th, we have jobs for our technicians for all those days. I'll go back to the day view. I think it's easier to see from there. So you notice here's all my jobs. If I bring this out for 2 weeks, okay, and let's get rid of our unassigned, and I'm going to take away and get rid of these 2 technicians. So there's Harry's schedule, and I could see it out for the next, for whatever days that I've selected, from 12:30 all the way through January 7th. And it created all those appointments as we selected for him. Again, you could drag any of these and move them over as you needed to. So we couldn't go on the 7th and I wanted to go on the 8th. I could drag it and move the appointment very easily. If for some reason he's not going to go on the 3rd, I could press delete and I could delete that appointment and take it off the schedule board. Okay. So that, in essence, is the new features to handle all of your job scheduling. through the job schedule board. Don, I kind of monopolized all the talking there. I apologize. So I'm going to throw it back to you for anything that you feel that I missed, or you want to make sure we show off here.
No, I had a checklist, and you pretty much nailed everything. The one thing I will say that you jumped over is the ability to quickly schedule 1 week at a time. So if you double-click on something,
okay, so
like go back to the schedule, like you're going to go in, and if you knew you were going to schedule somebody for the full week,
okay,
go ahead and pick a job task and a labor task.
Okay.
So if you go down to, like, say, the week of January 5th, for instance, if you click just left of the 5,
very good.
The whole week automatically. So it'll save you a lot of time from picking days and so on.
Okay.
Now what we're working on right now, and yep, go ahead.
I was going to say, if I want to schedule for 2 weeks, I can just pick this and just schedule another week right there.
Right, and because you have the excludes automatically checked, it knows to skip Saturday and Sunday.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay. That's the only thing I saw that you missed. Yeah. Everything else looked good.
And if you notice, it's telling us when we created those, it will still create this appointment for January 8th, even though it's in red. But you notice it is telling us that we have a conflict there. So you could then jump into the schedule board and take a look and see what's going on there. So you could fix that or change that, or maybe you don't want that, and I'll just remove that one from the board. So when it does that, it would remove that one. Oh, I think I removed them all. Okay. And then you could click schedule when you're ready for it, and I click save, and now it just created all those appointments that we had for us. Okay.
And the only other thing I will add is the security options for people having to have access to job management and job scheduling will be required to get in, to get into the schedule from the job side. And the second thing I'll mention is this is a phase 1 of this process. This is going to be an ongoing work in process. And initially in this release we're going to come out with this week, this can only be accessed via the service module menu. So in order to get the jobs, you have to have access to the service area in this release. Now we're coming up right after the holidays with a second release where this will be accessible from the job side also. So Michael, if you go back to the main application and you go into the job management menu, there's no way to get to the new job scheduling right now from job management. That'll be coming out in a few weeks. And the reason we don't have that piece done is because we have to flip all the security logic now to go the other way. So for instance, if you had a installation manager who you don't want to have access to service, we have to build the controls in place so that if I come to the job management or come to the scheduling board from jobs, we have to manage all the service security options in this piece. And we didn't want to hold this up any longer, so that'll be coming out after the first of the year when we get those in there.
Don, we have quite a few questions, so I'm going to start reading them off, and I'll let you kind of go through these. The first one you answered, when will this release be coming out?
Yeah, we're planning on, after this call, to get it out to the whole beta group, and I think we're ready to probably push it out to everybody real soon. I got a couple more things to check. There'll be a document available on the web. I want to make sure that that's ready, with the help document that Carolyn has put together for this. And once we have those pieces in place, it may be today or tomorrow we'll have it ready.
Okay. Next question was, are the jobs drag and drop in the service module? I believe they're asking, can I go in here and take a job and just drag and drop them? So the answer is yes. You have the same feature functionality as you do in the service module. Okay.
There's a lot of questions.
Yeah. If I just go through these. Will there be a viewable guide for this job management scheduling upgrade?
And that's the document I believe we're talking about a bit ago that Carolyn has finished for us. So there will be.
Yeah, so we do have a reference document that really goes through everything we talked about today and much more. And we should have that posted on the website hopefully by tomorrow. We could...
Which texts are available for the time selected instead of having to go one by one? I don't understand that question, so I'm going to skip it.
So this one says, oh, we use install teams. Can we schedule an install team for more than one job in the same time period? I believe the answer to that would be yes. You can. So for example, let's just go in and take a look at today's schedule. And I'm just looking at it for Harry over here. So you notice I can drag it and I can have multiple jobs scheduled at the same time. And so you can put jobs in there for the same time for the same technician. And this one happens to be the same job, but normally you would have different jobs scheduled. But yes, you can have multiples. Okay. Can you show how the technician's changes on the FSU affect the calendar? Not sure what you mean by that, but I will point out that when a FSU user is using the FSU and they go in on the FSU and say that they have dispatched themselves, the schedule board will automatically change to show you that it's been dispatched. And it's automatically going to record the time. Same thing with their arrival and the same thing with their departed. So what they're doing on the schedule board on the FSU will real-time update on your schedule board. The question is, I understand the iPad app is now available to start today, or do we need to upgrade our system and software first? Don, I believe if you're using the iPads, it's just fully compatible with this. I don't think there's any changes you have to make or do any upgrades first. Would that be true?
That's true. That's true.
Okay. We'll be able to design queries for job information. Yes. What we have coming out, and hopefully, as I said earlier, either by the end of the year or shortly thereafter, but it's being developed right now, is a new job query builder tool. So if you're familiar with the query tools that we have now, like the customer query builder or the GL AP sales tax parts query, there's a new one which is a job query builder. And with that query builder, we have mapped everything that is job specific. So you start at a job and everything from the labor, parts sold, invoice items, everything that you use to set up a job is within the job query builder. On the left, there are some gray boxes labeled map, notes, email. Are those used? So Don, I'll throw that out to you. I noticed they're not used now. Is the plan to get these active for jobs as well?
Yes. Yeah, especially the mapping.
Okay. So yes, these will all be available just like they are for service tickets. So that you can drill right into the notes. You'll be able to click on the maps to see the map for that, as well as doing an email. And maybe emailing the technician is what it does now.
Right.
Okay, a couple more here. When can we use this? As soon as it's released. And as Don said, it should be really soon. Will schedule job show on the new iOS FSU? Yes, they will. So those will all be part of the iOS, the FSU, where you could see both. If I'm a technician, I could see any service calls, service appointments scheduled for me, as well as any job appointments that I have. So then I'll throw this one out at you. SageQuest. Now that we have it over here, we'll be integrating SageQuest with these appointments as well.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I take it it's not available now. That's something that we'll do in the future.
Yeah, we'll hook that in the way we did in service.
Okay. Okay. Let me try to find two more in here. So a lot of these questions are very lengthy. What we will do is if we don't get to your question today, we will answer all these questions and get back to everybody for all the questions that they have. Do I need anything done, anything in Sedona Setup to enable users to use this feature?
Not at this time. Like I said, the only thing to be concerned about is it's only accessible through the service menu right now. So if you have installation people who can't get the service, they wouldn't have access to the new scheduler in this release.
Okay, good. And last one. Let's find one in here. How are you envisioning dispatched, arrived, and departed postings to be handled? Is that being done by someone at the office or the tech as they perform the job?
Either or, right?
Yeah, the answer is if ideally, if you're using the field service units, you want your technicians to be doing that, because then they're real-time updating where they're at, when they arrive somewhere, when they completed, when they're on their way to their next appointment. It doesn't mean you have to do it that way, and then you could do everything within the main application in the Sedona service schedule. But ideally, you want it one or the other, because that really gives you the best visibility of where your technicians are at any point in time. Now, you can always come in and enter the data after the fact and at the end of the day or the next business day. But from a true business standpoint, the more you can keep that up to date real time, the better your data is going to be, the more accurate it's going to be, the faster you're going to be able to get your billing and your invoices out to the customers, especially for service tickets. So it was really designed to be used in a real-time mode, again, either by the field service units with the technicians in the field or by dispatchers or management or data entry people within the office. So with that said, I want to thank everyone for joining our webinar today. Rebecca just poked her head in my office and said, all the questions that are on here, and I'll tell you there was a ton of questions, and thank everyone for submitting those. We will post those as a frequently asked FAQs, and we'll get that posted on our website, and so that everyone can look at that. Rebecca said she'll get that out either by the end of the day tomorrow or Monday at the latest. As Don said, the release is coming out really soon. It's going to the beta test users, so we hope you embrace these new features. I know users have been asking for these for a long, long time. We're really excited to get it out, and once it's out, well, I'm sure we'll come out with just new things we can do with this. So it really opens up a lot of new opportunities for us. So again, thank you, and again, if you haven't signed up for the users conference, don't forget, it's not too late. It's a great event, great classes, great education, and a lot of fun. And Don, thank you so much, and to the whole development team who really, worked their butts off to get this done and out the door. Thanks to all of them, and everybody have a great day, great weekend, and happy holidays.